Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Sunday Night Live, your favorite automotive show where we talk about the issues that help to improve the customer experience at your store. Because the better the experience, the more they come back to you for everything they need when they need it. And tonight, I'm excited about tonight's show because today is officially the launch of Q4. It's the home stretch, and here's where we make it or break it. Now, just before we get started here, for some of the folks that will be watching live and or on the replay that don't know who I am, my name is Paul Meijer, and this is my 44th year in automotive. I bring experience in variable, fixed, and operations on the aftermarket side, the dealer side, and the vendor side. So I've seen a few things along the way, and I spend a lot of time in dealerships, and I see a lot of common things occur, various different brands, and I want to share some of my observations with you so that you can make a plan to crush Q4, because literally in our business, in the blink of an eye, 3 months are gone. So if you work at a dealership, whether it's variable, fixed, you might want to take out a notepad and write down some of these things, because if you put them to use, you will get benefit from it. I guarantee you. All right, starting us off this evening, we have Peter Smith. Looking forward to the show. And Jennifer Blount-Sanford. Good evening. And Steve DiMarzio. Nice background, Paul. Thank you. Thank you. All right, some of the things that we're going to cover this evening. How to attract new customers. It's a lot easier than you think. How to leverage Google and what your customers are looking for when they go on Google, and or if they're searching for any of the products or services that you that you sell or do. Also going to look at some tweaks that you can do to your website that'll make it easier for the customers to want to do business with you. We're going to talk about social media mastery. I spend probably more time than I should in social media. However, it's brought us a tremendous amount of success and business. So I'm going to share some of that with you, and then some in-store strategies, how to maximize your digital opportunities, shift from old school verbal jujitsu to more value-based selling. How to present pricing as simple as difficult as people find it. It's really more simple than you think. Some EV selling strategies, vehicle acquisition. That's something everybody struggles with. And how to set better expectations, whether it's in the showroom or in the service department. And another area of opportunity, given how long cars are on the road today, is how to attract the older cars into your shop. Okay, you can decide how old you want to cut them off, depending on your liability risk taste. Tanya Davis, healthy communities are thriving communities. Good evening. Thank you for tuning in. All right, the first thing I'm going to start with is Google. In the comments, if you would, how many of us use Google before purchasing any product or service? With a show of hands. When we're in the same room, it's easy. Online, you kind of have to put it in the chat. And if people are shy this evening, we'll fast forward through that piece of it. But Google is the #1 search engine in the world. So before anybody buys anything, they're going to go on Google, and they're going to have some common search terms, okay, depending on what they're looking for. If I'm looking for if I'm looking to buy a brand new widget, I may do a search for best widget near me, or best rated widgets near me, or best widget store near me, whatever the case may be. And Google, their #1 job is to sell advertising. And the way they do that is by becoming the source for everybody's search query. And they remind you every time you do a search, whatever you put in, within a few nanoseconds, you'll see 5,387 results found in 0.47 seconds. They tell you every time, because if people use Google, it stands to reason they're going to sell advertising. Some of those banner ads you see and other click ads, that's where they make their money. So it's even become a verb to Google it, right? Let's see here. Steve DiMarzio says, yes. Jennifer says, of course, LinkedIn user, which will tell me after the show goes over. So LinkedIn user, identify yourself, raise their hand. And Freddie Trujillo, safe to say we Google everything. That's true. So now put yourself in the customer's shoes, and you're looking to buy a vehicle. All right, I'm going to put something up on the screen, and you're going to be able to choose from 2 dealers. And you tell me which one you would most likely go to based on real data that I found today. So check this out. Which one would you probably go to? All right, one dealer has a 4.3 star rating with 381 Google reviews, and they have 33 photos on their Google My Business page. The dealer on the right has a 4.7 star rating and has 5,335 Google reviews, and they have 243 photos on Google. Which one would you most likely go to? I don't know about you, but most people would go to the dealer that has so many more reviews. They may or may not even read the reviews. Who cares if one has a few hundred and the other one has thousands upon thousands? Google rewards you. They push those good reviews up to the top so that customers can see at a glance, or prospects can see at a glance, why all those people gave them a 4.7 star rating. Now, it gets even better than that, because if somebody's doing a search, they could filter by star rating. So if I filter, show me dealers that are 4.5 stars or greater, then guess what happens? The one on the left drops off the recommended list. It's not that they necessarily did anything bad. They're just not above the criteria where most people would shop. If I offered you the choice, I'm going to present a few stores to you. One's greater 4.5 or better, one's 3.5 or better, one's 2.5 or better. We're all going to use the one that's 4.5 or better. So why not be there? Now, some stores have sophisticated software that sends an email to the customer after the customer leaves. Or in other stores, they ask the customer very nicely. Let's see, we've got a couple of comments here. LinkedIn user says, right, Steve DiMarzio, right, and Ryan Baum. Google is huge. Always ask for the review. I spiff my advisors on getting Google reviews that say something about them. I also have them put the QR code on their business cards. Everybody uses Google. Now, when you ask your customer, they're all going to want to help you, and they're all well-meaning. But the reality is, unless you capture it right then and there, it's not going to happen, because I'll look at a store that has a database of tens of thousands of customers, and they'll have a few hundred reviews. That's it. I mean, think about the opportunities. If you sell 100 cars a month, which is not a lot, that's 1,200 opportunities that you have to capture Google reviews in sales. If you do 1,000 ROs a month, which again is not a lot, that's 12,000 opportunities you have to capture Google reviews. So why is it then that so many stores are in the hundreds? That's almost criminal. Steve DiMarzio says one bad review could drop the average. It could. And since we can't get rid of bad reviews, the only way to make them less relevant is to push them down with better reviews. Peter Smith says it's all about reputation management. Your reputation is online. And Robert Allen Carvel, word of mouth is the best advertisement. That's 100% true. But today, because of everybody's busy lives, that word of mouth happens online. And that online word of mouth for most people is Google. Now, I'm not knocking some of the other review sites that dealers know about. But if you listen to that, it's what dealers know about, not necessarily customers. So if the world is using Google, why not focus your attention on Google? And Ryan says, not asking for the review. That's exactly right. Or not asking the right way. So I'm going to share with you a very easy way to get Google reviews, both in sales and service. Now, if you work in the service department, you have the opportunity to really ramp up the store's Google reviews just by virtue of the number of opportunities that you have. So in the sales part of it, it's very easy. Think about this now. Customers don't buy cars every day. Every few years, they may buy a car. For your customer in front of you, it might be 5 years since they purchased the car. People don't buy on intelligence, they buy on emotion. And always focus everything you do on what's in it for the customer, period. Because unless there's something in it for them, they don't care. So always turn it around. Now, the easiest way to get reviews from your sales customers is this very simple process. Everybody in your sales department should have on their phone your Google Places page. And it should be open to reviews. Okay, if they haven't given you a review, then what they'll be looking at is an open 5-star review. You want to save your Google Places page to your phone. All right, so that it's a shortcut on the desktop, so to speak. So when a customer is picking up their new car, the emotion's high. They're very excited. Their new car's sitting outside, and you just want to paint the picture. You want to have a simple conversation. Now, the conversation revolves around what are the most common search terms for your business that drive people to come buy cars from you. So get together with your marketing department, look at your Google Analytics, and see what the most common search terms are on how people are coming to you. And you want to incorporate those search terms in your very simple conversation with your customers. Could go something like this. It's the customer's first widget model. Hey, where are you going on your first trip with your new widget? Is that cool or what? Do you have a name for your new widget? Get them emotionally charged. This is your first widget, isn't it? Is this not the best experience you ever had purchasing a widget near you? Anything that's in your search terms, in your Google Analytics, that's what you want to plant the seed in your customer's mind as you're having the conversation with them. So now, just before they're ready to roll over the curb, magic words. Would you do me a favor? Sure, Paul. What's that? Hey, I'm going to send you something to your phone right now. You open up that shortcut to your Google Places page that has the reviews. You click share on the bottom. You send it right to their phone. You hit send, boom. You hear their phone chime, ching. Do me a favor, open that up. I want to make sure that it populates. They open it up. Now what they're looking at in front of you, we're a couple of feet apart, is an open Google review with 5 empty stars in it. Would you do me a favor? We're a little behind on the whole Google thing. And, word of mouth is really your best form of advertising. Hopefully I've done everything right that I've earned the right to ask you. Could you give me a 5-star review? And I'll even make it easier for you. A minute ago, you agreed that this was the best purchase experience of a new widget near you. Why don't you just share that in the review? That's it. Make it real easy. Whatever the search terms are, and then hit send. Boom. Now what you have is an instant Google review. instant. The only thing you want to make sure of is that they're not on your Wi-Fi, because if you get a lot of reviews that are coming through the same IP address on your Wi-Fi, then Google's going to flag that and think there's something going on, and you're going to lose some of those. All right, so that's the simple way to get a Google review in sales. Let me get to a couple of comments here. Ryan says, when you don't ask for the review, you don't get them. But oftentimes, even when you ask for them, unless you get them, you make sure you get them right then and there, you're not going to get them. Peter Smith says, we can afford to lose a few dollars, but can't afford to lose our reputation. Think about it. It takes you years to build your reputation. It takes you minutes to lose it. And Robert Allen Carvel says, customer reviews on the internet, a place for service 5 times before committing to go to that service department. In service, it's the same conversation, but different. Customer comes in to have their brakes done. They may have been putting it off for a while. The brakes might have been squealing for a month before they finally came in. Why? Because maybe they were afraid that it was going to cost them more money than they had. Okay. Not everybody knows about your finance programs. Customers only know what they know. Never assume that they know what we know, because they don't. We have to explain each step of the process to them. All right. So in service, the customer comes in to have their brakes done. Hopefully you've greeted them in the drive and you've done all the proper steps with the walk around and all. So now the technician is going to verify the complaint. Turns out they need a set of brake pads and rotors. The advisor contacts them. They need $500 worth of work. The customer authorizes it. Good to go. You communicate with them throughout the process. Your car's on the lift now via text. Your car's, we're just finishing up now. We're going to take it on a road test via text. Even if you have nothing to say, sometimes it's better than all of these status calls that are inbound that tie up your advisor. So be proactive. Let them know when they drop off, what the process is in service, when you're going to contact them, and hold to that promise. If you do what you say, they'll trust you. Okay, and they'll want to come back to you because there's no fear element. So when the customer comes to pick up their car, rather than just cash them out, hand them their keys and send them on their way, hey, come with me. So now I'm the service advisor. I'm going to go for a ride with the customer that's picking up their car. We go for a ride. As you're driving, the customer's driving, you're in the passenger seat. You hear that? The customer's like, no, what? You don't hear that? No, I don't hear what? Oh, that's right. You don't hear it because your brakes aren't squeaking anymore. Now they laugh. I just wanted to make sure you were happy. You know, it's not every day that you spend $500 on repairs on your car. And we take your safety and the performance of your vehicle very seriously. So I just wanted to make sure you were happy. So now you come back into the parking lot. The customer's happy because you've justified why they spent the $500 to begin with. Okay. So now we both know that they're happy with that purchase. The conversation is no different. As you're driving, is this not the best brakes you ever had done? Or whatever the search terms are, how people find you when they're looking for brake work, as outlined in your Google Analytics. They pull into the spot. Hey, would you do me a favor? The service advisor has a page set right on the phone. They send it to them. They hear the customer's phone chime. Do me a favor, open that up. I want to make sure it populates. The customer opens it up. They're looking at 5 empty stars. Make it easy for them. Hey, you just agreed a minute ago. This was the best brake job you ever had done. Why don't you just share that? And if they want to share your name, even better. Hit send, done. Now you've got a Google review instantly. Again, the numbers are simple. If you do 1,000 ROs, that's 12,000 opportunities per year to get Google reviews in your service department. If you sell 100 cars a month, that's 1,200 opportunities per year to get Google reviews. So that's 13,200 for an average store. So why is it that we're looking at 300 reviews, 500 reviews, less than 1,000? Follow this simple formula and you'll get more. And to go back to that photo here, remember, which one would you choose? Are you the dealer on the left or are you the dealer on the right? It doesn't take you long to do that. All right, so that's how you attract new customers on Google. The other thing is social. Oh, we're going to get to social media later. Let's see here. When customers are going on your website, okay, they've gone to Google, they've decided you're the best place to go. When they go on your website, if they're going to service their car, then they need to know what the process is. If they're looking to buy a car from you, they need to know what the process is. Let me get to a couple of comments here. I don't want to fall behind. Let's see here. Steve DiMaggio says, this conversation motivates me to write a belated 5-star review for Chapman Ford. Do it. And I hope the folks from Chapman Ford are watching, because they could get a lot more reviews, as does every single store that's out there. There's not a store, other than the one I showed you on the right, that's crushing it with reviews. But yet we all have enough customers. Now, back in the day, when I started in this business, a customer would come in with a clipboard and a stack of papers. And they would want to drive every model we had. They would want our best price on everything, our best terms. And oh, by the way, I know it's a Saturday and I'm coming in at 10 in the morning and I'm going to be here for most of the day, your busy day. I'm shopping 5 other dealers. How motivated were we? Well, the ones that work, that have the battle stars that are still in the business today, very motivated. But today, you don't have that. It's so much easier. Customers have been saying for decades, they want an easy way to buy the car. It's that simple. The car business is all about control. Right down to the phrase, I can put you in this car today for X dollars, right? That's a phrase we've all used, those that have been in the business for a long time. It's all about control. The model has changed. The way to regain, the way to gain control today is by giving up control. You have to lead the customer to the decision that's best for them. They have to feel as though they are in control. And most customers, if not all of them, do their shopping online. They want to get the answers they want before deciding to engage with a store. I think it was about 8 years ago that only 6 in 10 customers engaged with a dealership before coming in. Now, a lot of them don't want to engage with the dealership. They just show up. We can change all that. All right. If we can get people to our websites, that's a good thing. Now, instead of driving them all over in all of our cars, we can give them the tools where they can do their own research. If they do all their research on your website, they're more likely to then buy the car from you. When somebody submits a lead after having looked for pricing, you need to respond to them quickly. Got a comment coming in from Steve Apicella. You should also run every attribute you advertise through a simple filter of, is that attribute truly a distinction or is it merely a customer expectation? We have great people, expectation or distinction. We provide friendly service, expectation or distinction. We provide prompt service, same. Dig deeper, otherwise you sound like everyone else. Steve, that is so on point, so on point. When they get to your website, I'm a big believer in a why buy here. Look at your own dealership website and see, do you have a page that's called why buy here? It's no different than the evidence manual we had on our desks. When we went to do something and the customer was sitting at our desk, we took the evidence manual or the 3-ring binder, we turned it towards them, and there they could flip through all of the letters that customers used to give us and all of the other testimonials, the safety ratings, all of the reasons why people should buy the car from me. They'd be able to look at that. I was a little OCD. I took it even further. I had everything was buy from Paul. When I left the dealership years later, people were still telling me that they were finding these little buy from Paul stickers all over. I would be sitting at my desk talking to a sales customer, and as they're sitting in front of me, I see their eyes. They're finding all these little stickers that say buy from Paul. But what really got them was I had a stamp on my head. I had a stamp that said buy from Paul. I stamped my head, and as I went to write the stuff down, and I would go like this, they would see that stamp on the top of my head and start laughing hysterically. Once they started laughing, that's when I knew they were mine and the deal was imminent. Okay, so you want to have a why buy here on your website. If your company offers a lifetime warranty, tell them what that value is to them. If you offer drop-off and pickup service, tell them what the value is to them. If most cars come into the dealership twice a year for service and you didn't offer a shuttle or loaner cars, then that customer would have to take an Uber back and forth to the dealership. A 20-minute Uber ride is probably $30 with the tip, and they have to come back. So 2 dealer visits, that's $120 they don't have to spend because you offer a shuttle service or you offer loaner cars. If you wash your customers' cars, that should be on there. If you went to a car wash for a car wash, what would you spend? $20? If you offer that for your customers twice a year when they come in, that's a $40 value. And there's so many other things that you do at the store that represents value to the customer, but you need to state that value. Don't assume they know it because they don't. Steve says, our great industry often conveys why buy here, but is that really in your culture? What about why return here? Beyond the one-time transaction. Everyone desires the recurring customer, but intentionally isn't enough. Intentionality is not enough. Tongue twister. I think I need a drink here. So the why buy here should be a major differentiator to the customer. All right. And it gets better than that. So now the customer goes on your website. They're going to go on your website for a few reasons. They're either going to want to buy something from you, they're going to want to sell something to you, or they're going to want to service their car with you. Now, let's see here. We all talk about, we're in the age of digital retailing. And a lot of stores have digital retailing tools on their website. And they even promote that you can buy the car online. But imagine this. If you asked me a question, any question, and before I answered that question, I said to you, hey, Steve, no problem. I would love to answer that question for you. But before I answer the question, I need your first name, your last name, your address, your phone number, your email address. Would you help me with that? How many of you would just willingly give up that information when all you want to do is get a simple price? Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that, man. So if you're watching this live or even in the replay later, how many of us would go on a company's website to get our information? But before we get our information, how many of us would say, oh yeah, sure, I'll give you all of my PII, personally identifying information? Well, according to the studies, 81% of you would say no. Of the people that I poll every day when I go into dealerships, when I pose that same question to them, 100% of them say, no way, I'm not giving you anything. I just want to get the information to determine whether or not I can afford it and whether or not I even want to do business with you. Yet every day, you'll go on and do your own homework. If you want to find out the price of a car, you go on a dealer's website and you click on new cars and you get their SRP, search results page, that lists all of their new car inventory. Now, if you're interested in a particular model, then you're going to click on that model and you'll see explore pricing. But instead of getting the answer that you want, a lot of times this is what you get. Now, if you look at the top here between the arrows, it says 100% online purchase. But before that happens, I need your first name, your last name, your email address, your mobile phone, and your zip code. Now, I say optional, but the customer doesn't see it that way. And before they do anything, before you can get started, you have to give that information. When you see here, this particular one is defaulted to lease. You see the lock on the view details because you can't see it unless you give up all the information. How likely are you to continue on that website? 81% of the people in an automotive study said no, and 100% of the people in all the stores that I go into, when I go into a lot of dealerships every day over a large territory, they all say no. But if, on the other hand, you're shopping for a car and you want to explore whether or not you can afford the car, and you had the same scenario, but now instead of getting a big roadblock that says, give me all your information first, you get this. Now you can put in what your down payment amount is. You can select the term. You can choose finance, lease, or cash, and you can get all the information that you need right there to know whether or not you can afford it. Because look, a customer's not going to want to come in and tell you, yeah, I'm a 300 and I had two cars repoed. So do you want to spend time with me? No, they're not going to do that. But if you give them the ability to run their own numbers, then they will have an opportunity to see what they can afford. Customers don't want to waste your time any more than you want to waste your time. So give them the opportunity to get all of the answers they're looking for on your website, because if they don't get it from you, they're going to get it from somebody else. And just some cool stats here about these tools. And I know everybody's afraid. A lot of stores, they don't want to leave the tool unlocked. I want to capture that lead. We all want the Glengarry leads. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't work that way in today's world. 81% will bounce out of your website. Now, when Cox Automotive did a study between dealers that had an open digital retail tool versus dealers that didn't, what they found is that the dealers that had an open digital retailing tool visited 5 more pages. Okay, they spent more time. They spent 6 minutes longer on the customer's websites. They visited 52% more VDPs because they're honing in on what they can afford. The closing ratios were 30% higher, and the gross profits on those deals were 26% higher. When you unlock the tool, you're not giving them the ability to change the pricing. You're still at list price or whatever price you want to give them. So you haven't given up anything. All you've done is given up or empowered them to feel in control so that they can run the numbers. And I'm going to take it one step further. And I know a lot of F&I people are going to say boo-hoo on this one. But if you add F&I products to your digital retailing tool, more people than you can imagine will choose them. It's up to the salesperson when they're in store to find out what were the emotional drivers that brought them in. Did they ever have an engine or a transmission that they had to pay for out of warranty? Did they ever hit a pothole where they blew out a wheel and a tire and had to buy a second tire because they're recommended in pairs? Did that cost them $1,800 out of pocket? These are all things that your salespeople need to find out in their needs assessment, not in a grilling kind of way, but just a regular conversation to determine which of our products would most enhance that owner's experience. Let me get to a couple of comments here. Peter Smith, would you travel on an airline if they wouldn't give you a price until you got to the airport, let alone know if they had a seat? That is a perfect point. And it's the same thing with hotels. I book my airlines, I book my rentals, and I book my hotels right through an app or online on the computer. It's easy. Now, I'm not going to lie. There are times that I get to the hotel and the place looks like it got hit by an RPG because they're in the middle of a remodel. And the front door is now located on the side and they've got plastic covering and the gym is not functional or the pool is closed. And to those folks, I said, you could have said so on your website. No hard feelings. I would have chosen another place because I like to go to the gym in the morning. When I get up, I go to the gym. I have some oatmeal. I prep for my dealer meeting, and then I'm off to the dealer meeting. So when I come to your hotel and I can't do that, that makes me feel less warm and fuzzy about your hotel. And it's no different at the dealership. All right. Jen says, great personal tips. It takes just a few people in a dealership to act with this type of intentionality. I don't know why I'm having trouble with that word, to make a difference. Success breeds success. So we're not talking about rocket science here. So if you offer them those F&I products on your website, I'm not saying put 30 products on there. Most stores, they pitch 10. Maybe put the 5 most popular ones. Okay. Just give them a choice, because if you have the product listed and a short video on what's in it for the customer, what's their benefit, and it's only $20 a month or $25 a month, whatever it is, the customer's more likely to want to pick that. But when they don't know, that's when their friends tell them about USAA and all these other companies that offer extended warranties that aren't necessarily in your best interest, or all of the emails that people get from all these shyster warranty companies, for lack of another way to put it. A percentage of those people do buy them and they think they have an extended warranty. But when they come into your store and you figure out that thing covers nothing, guess who they blame? They don't blame the warranty company because they feel they have a warranty. They blame you. And it becomes your service nightmare, and it becomes your Google review nightmare. So if we set the expectations better, then we're going to affect a different outcome. All right. Let me just see here. I want to share. Let's see, share screen. Okay. This is the Subaru dealer where I purchased my car. This is not an ad for them. It's merely something they do well that I want to share with the audience. Okay. Let me go in here. When I click on their parts and service, here's Bob.
Hi, I'm Bob Alvine, president of the Premier Auto Dealerships. Having a safe and reliable vehicle is of the utmost importance. That's why at the Premier Dealerships, our service and parts departments are fully staffed and able to perform any and all repairs, recalls, or maintenance items your car needs. We're taking extreme precautions to make sure your safety is our top priority. And we'll even pick up and drop off your car for service. Have confidence in servicing your car at Premier.
That tells them right out of the gate that that dealer is there for them. Now, here's another one. So now I'm going to go for brakes. I'm going to click on their brake tab. And now there's a video here. They've invested in brake repair equipment. Okay, it explains the process. For maintenance, there's a video. There's a video for everything. There's information for everything. That's the type of stuff you need to have on your dealership, on the website. It tells people that you're in the repair business. That's where retention comes from. So those simple tweaks on your website for sales will help you get more people into your digital retailing tool. But it doesn't stop there. Log into the tool and see what the utilization is. I'd venture to say probably anywhere from 5 to 15% of your customers today utilize that tool to its full extent. Inside the tool, you have rich data. See which customers used it fully and engage with them. Ask them, hey, we see you used our tool. Great. The reason we have it is because it saves the customer X amount of time at the dealership. We know your time is valuable and we have respect for your time. So share with us, if you would, what made it so easy for you to use. The people that only went in part of the way, ask them, hey, I see you went into our tool, you got some pricing information, and that's where you stop. What could we have done differently? How could we have enhanced this to make it more user-friendly for you? Because if you can complete the application online, it does a few things for you, all right? If you haven't purchased a car in a while, or if this is your first purchase, the banks are very strict today. There may be some criteria that they need that you might not have with you when you come in for your scheduled appointment on Saturday. It takes our finance experts a couple of seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds to determine whether or not there are going to be some things that you'll need to bring with you. All right. And on top of that, most people save about 20 minutes by doing this application online. We can have you pre-approved before you came in. So now when you get that application off of your tool, you can look at it. Okay, it's been at the job for this long, makes this much money, doesn't have a whole lot of credit experience. Based on my experience working in this store, dealing with these banks, they're probably going to need a cosigner, or they're probably going to need a couple of utility bills. Now, let me ask you this. When's the last time you walked into a store to buy something and just happened to have in your back pocket 2 utility bills? I'm going to say never. So don't expect your customers to come in with the same thing. So if you can encourage them, find out what you could have done to make it more user-friendly so they use it, then you can help other people save time and aggravation in your store, which translates into a better customer experience for them and happier customers and more referrals for you. You start with them first. Okay, it's a very, very simple process. So that's how you get more people to use it. If a customer inquires on Monday, chances are they're not coming in until Saturday. Between Monday and Saturday, you will have had several conversations, whether it be by phone, text, or email, with those prospects. That's a perfect time. Hey, you're okay on the payments. Listen, we could save you about 20 minutes in the store if you do this one last piece here. And I'm going to make it easy for you. I'm just going to send you a link right to that part of the page. All right. Would that work for you? If somebody asks you, do you mind if I save you 30 minutes? Are you going to say, no way, man, I want to waste that 30 minutes of my life I'll never get back? No, you'd appreciate it. So use that along the way through your conversations to get more people to use it, because more people that use it means they'll spend less time at your store. Now, on the social media part, believe it or not, most, if not all of your customers are on social media, but it's not just that they're on social media. Marketing is delivering the right message to the right person at the right time in the right medium. All right. If you look up a particular demographic for your buyer, that demographic might be 25 to 45. So you have a few segments here. You have 25 to 30, 30 to 35, 35 to 40, and 40 to 45. So you have four segments there. Now, if most of your customers are 30 years old or younger, those people are hanging out on TikTok. If most of your customers are over 30, in their 40s, 50s, or later, most of those folks are hanging out on Facebook. It doesn't matter whether or not you are. It only matters whether or not they are. And you could reach a huge audience through social media at a total cost of this much money. And it's simply creating content that people consume. How many people out there watch videos online? And don't lie, because I know I spend way too much time watching videos myself. My wife, she shared a cat video the other day, and the cat's going, "What the hell? What the hell?" It was cute. But we probably killed 10 minutes watching that video over and over. Everybody watches online videos. So create content with your customers. That's where they live. For those that fish, if you use a fish finder, doesn't that increase the odds of you catching fish? It's no different with social media. If you create content and leverage your customers, I can't tell you how many stores' social media accounts I look at, and they have no video content. They have no community building content. They have nothing. What they have is the hostage video, now the hostage photos. And what I call the hostage photo is yet thousands upon thousands of photos of the salesperson handing a key to a customer who's shaking their hand. After seeing so many of those, people will shut that off from their feed. They don't care about your photos. They don't. If your photos are part of a mix of a lot of content, yes, then they'll care about it. But if all you're showing them is Bob and Sally Jones taking delivery of their car, or Frank and Joey taking delivery of their new car, after a while, they're not going to watch it anymore. The average person, I don't know what the current stat is, but the stat was the average person on Facebook had 500 friends. And at any given time, today's expectations are here. Reality's down here. So we're one bad experience away from losing a customer and losing them for good. So you need to leverage your good customers. We all have those customers that have been coming into our stores for years. We know them by name. We know their families. They know us. They know our stories. That's the customer you can go up to and say, "Hey, listen, Paul, do me a favor. We're way behind on the social media thing, and we're totally missing the boat. You know, you've been coming here for like 10 years now. Why do you come here? Why do you do business with us? Tell me in 30 to 60 seconds. That's it. Why you do business with us." And they'll tell you with emotion why they do business with you. Then you ask them, "Hey, are you on social media? Oh, you're on Facebook? Great. Can you do me a favor? We really suck at the social media thing. What you just told me, can you share that in like a 30 to 60 second video? And can I tag you in it? And can you share it?" So now I said, sure. Not everybody's going to say sure. But if you have a handful of customers that do, that's worth its weight in gold. Okay. So you put your arm around them, you hold the phone in selfie mode, and now you're doing, hey, Paul, why do you do business with XYZ Motors? And then when they start to talk, you hold the phone closer to their face so their face occupies the entire screen, and they're telling you with emotion, the reason I buy from you guys is because you always treat me right. You know, sometimes I don't plan my day properly, but if I need service in a pinch, somehow, some way, you always seem to get me in. 30 to 60 seconds. That's it. Boom. You hit end and you send that to whoever is in charge of curating social media content for your store. You ask the customer if you can tag them in it and ask them, hey, we're going to put this on our social media. Would you mind sharing that? Great. Thank you so much. So now when they get tagged, I don't know about you, but I get notifications when my friends check into places. I get notifications when they go to functions that they check in. So each person that you can get to do that, if you can get 10 people to create content with you that you can tag them in, then their friends will be notified that they did business with you. So if you have 10 customers that have on average 500 friends, most of them live near them, then 10 customers give you a 5,000 person reach right out of the gate. And at some point in time, when they have a bad experience at their store, they're going to remember that 10 of their friends checked in at your dealership. And they're going to call you. Hey, you know, my dealer just pissed me off. I see you go to XYZ Motors all the time. You've been there a few times. Who's your guy over there? Who's your gal over there? You don't think they're going to give that name up quickly? Think about that. I'll walk into a dealership and I'll ask them, how's your tire business? Oh, yeah, not so good. We don't focus on tires because it's only 10% margin and it's too much trouble. So no, you're missing the boat. It's not the 10% you make. It's the 100% of the business you lose because 7 in 10 customers don't come back after they buy the tires from somebody else. If you educate them from minute one about you being the person to not only buy the car from, but to service with, because you're going to check their tires each step of the way, and you're going to share with them what I call the tire walk. I'm sure most of you have seen that, but I'll share a link to that video in this thread. That leaves an impression on them that, wow, I didn't realize that the tires were that important. And twice a year when they come in, you call them to alert them that their tires are still in great shape. You've got a long way to go, so that by the time you've had the tire conversation 6 or 7 times, it's not a question as to whether or not you're in the tire business. They know you're in the tire business and they'll buy tires from you. The other night, my buddy, who's a doctor, we were going to our Guys Not Out event. And he said to me, he bought his tires from Pep Boys. I said, why didn't you go to the dealer to buy your tires? He says, my dealer doesn't do tires. I said, what? I said, that's exactly what I'm talking about. There's a dealer that does not educate their customers that they're in the tire business. I know they're in the tire business because I visited the store, but yet the dealer did not convey to their own customer who bought a brand new car from them that they're in the tire business. And when it came time to buy tires, the dealer wasn't even a consideration. The guy went to the aftermarket to buy tires. So they need tires. You educate them why they should come to you. I'm in automotive, I'm in the restaurant space, and we're in yarn. We own a yarn shop. Nobody needs yarn. So when a dealer tells me their customers won't drive across town to buy tires from them, shame on them, man. Because we have a fall retreat every fall, and customers will get on a plane from Nebraska to come knit with us for a few days. They'll get on a plane in California. They'll drive up from Pennsylvania. They'll drive down from New Hampshire, from Vermont. They'll spend money and time to do something they enjoy. One of our reps, she moved from the Midwest to New Hampshire. Their salesperson in the Midwest was so on point, followed up with them regularly, that when they want to buy a new car, they ordered a new car from that same guy. And when the car comes in, they're going to fly from New Hampshire to the Midwest to pick the truck up, and they're going to drive it back home. Okay, so it can be done. Social media is huge. A lot of stores will say, oh, no, it doesn't work. And I've even had some restaurant customers say, oh, yeah, I don't want to spend money on the marketing because it's not really working. Until people come up to you that you don't know, and they thank you because it's your marketing and social media that brought them into the store. I didn't know these women at the time, but I did a video for a restaurant that presently it's at about 33,000 views. All right. And these people went to that restaurant. This is just one of many that went to the restaurant and thanked me because they were so happy that they learned about it through social media, through my ad. Check this out.
Hi, Val.
Hi, Val. Remember us?
We just want to let you know that we came to visit you because of this guy right here.
Yeah, we saw you on Facebook.
Yes, it was good.
Okay, that's the power of Facebook. There was a guy on LinkedIn who was looking for a job. LinkedIn is social media. I shared that post. He got calls from all around the country, people offering him work. So leverage it. Look at your store's social media now, after the show, and see how many videos do you have? How many fans do you have? In our yarn store, we have, I don't know, we have over 4,000 fans in our social media, okay? And those people regularly attend our weekly show. They regularly purchase from us. They've made friends within the community. It's no different in a car dealership. Nobody has anything on a car dealership when it comes to creating content. The cast of characters that work in your stores, second to none. Take a look and see when your audience is most active, if you even have an audience. And if you don't have an audience, start creating one. Every week, when you ask people to create content with you, reward them. Tell people, hey, we're going to tag you. Do me a favor. Share our content. That video that we made, that 30 to 60 second testimonial as to why you service with us, why you buy your cars from us. Get them to share that content and reward them once a week. Pull a name out of a hat and give them a free detail, give them a free service, whatever, and ask them to share that. And you'll grow your audience. And as you grow your audience, you'll get more people that come to your store. There's no reason why a customer won't drive across town to buy a set of tires, but they'll get on a plane and fly across the country to buy yarn. You could do that in your stores. We're going to go a little bit over because there's some more stuff I want to share with you. When the customer comes into the store and they spend time with the salesperson, they spent an hour, hour and a half with the salesperson. Most stores today, they tell them, here's the price of the new car, here's what your trade-in is worth, add doc fee, sales tax, and blah, 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 and that's what it costs you. Now, stores spend tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring in old school trainers that will teach your staff verbal jujitsu. Okay, it's all about how to get over on the customer, how to overcome objections. Oh, I understand how you feel. Others have felt that way. What we found is that's all old school stuff or yelling at the customer. Please, I'd rather have them understand the value and buy in and avoid the objection to begin with. Isn't that a better way to do business? The most expensive purchase in anybody's life is real estate. Yet you can't buy or sell a home without having a comparative market analysis done. The second most expensive item in everybody's purchase life is a car. Yet we don't do that. We just present them the four square, or A plus minus B equals trading difference plus plus plus. No, why not do the same thing? You have to know your market. If you're selling new cars, know what everybody in your market is charging for the cars that you sell. And at the same time, also know what the other competing makes to your cars are selling for. You can do this online anonymously. It's very easy. Because all of our customers shop before we come in. Isn't it good for them to know that you know what they know? So when you're presenting the new car price, hey, we've gone over your needs assessment. Based on your, what you're telling me, this seems like the perfect car for you. Would you agree? Great. All right. Now we get to the fun part, the pricing part. There's two components to every car deal. There's the new car you want to purchase, and there's the car you need to trade in. So we're going to handle each one separately so you get a good understanding as to how we arrive at the numbers, and then we'll put it all together. Does that make sense? Great. Okay. So the car that you're looking to buy, we've surveyed dealers within a 90-mile radius of the store, and we have found that 80% of them charge this much for their cars. A couple of dealers charge this much for their cars, and a couple of them charge this much for their car. We price ours here, and let me tell you why. All right. Now, some of the benefits of buying your car from us is that we offer you a lifetime warranty. What does that mean on the powertrain? What does that mean to you? Okay. Now, if most cars today, they have a 3-year or 36,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty, and maybe you get 5 years or 60,000 miles on the powertrain. That's great, right? That's if you buy from anybody else. But if when you buy your car from our dealership, our lifetime warranty to you, Mr. Customer, means that as a person that's buying a car elsewhere and you drive 15,000 miles per year, your powertrain warranty ends in 4 years because it ends at 60,000 miles. With us, if you are, let's say, a 40-year-old person buying your car from us with a lifetime warranty, now this is going to sound kind of hokey, but walk with me on this. Do you know what the average life expectancy is of somebody in the United States today? It's 76.4 years old. Okay, and that's according to the CDC data published April of this year. 76.4 years. That's how long most people can expect to live. So if you buy that car from anybody else, your powertrain warranty ends in 4 years. But from us, you get, based on the data, 36.4 years if you kept the car that long. Now, we know you're not going to keep the car that long, but it's 9.1 times longer a powertrain warranty than anybody else you buy your car from. So the spread of pricing is here. Yeah, there's a couple down here. We're pricing our car here. So we're in the game. But you've got a warranty that's 9.1 times longer than anybody else's warranty, plus these other things that we do. So that's how we arrive at this price. Does that make sense? Yes, great. Now the new car price is out of the way. The other component is the trade-in. The way it normally works is the salesperson and the customer do a quick walk around, and then they hand it to the appraiser. The appraiser goes out by himself. Now, as a customer, I trust the salesperson because I've spent an hour to an hour and a half with that person. I don't know the appraiser. As a customer, are we feeling that that appraiser is going to give us more than we feel our car's worth, or are they going to try to take it from us? We're going to feel as customers, they're going to try to take it from us. So a good practice is have the salesperson, the customer, and the appraiser go appraise the car together. But before you go out, you just say to the customer, hey, I know you were coming here to buy a car today, but you're going to get so much more. What do you mean? Today, we're going to teach you the fine art of automobile appraising. We're going to teach you what dealers know and how dealers buy cars. How cool is that? So now when you go, you do the walk around with them, you educate them as to what they need and why. You have the salesperson turn the tire, you show them the tread depth. You use the penny thing if you don't have a lanyard or a tire checker, because the customer's not going to have one. But if you explain to them, if you can see the top of the president's head on the penny, that tells you the tires need to be replaced. So you educate them on how it works, and you educate them as to how much longer it takes the car to stop. 10 car lengths in most cases. So now when they're coming in, they already looked up on Kelley Blue Book and they put in excellent condition, and they've come up with a car that they feel is worth $10,000. They don't know about tires. They don't know about dents, scratches. check engine lights. They don't know about that. They're not in the car business. So when you educate them, hey, it's a good thing you came in. You see here, here's how your tires are worn, but there's no point for you to spend $1,000 to replace the tires for us to give you that money back. We'll fix that. So your timing is perfect. So that's money you don't have to spend. And all of the other things, right? The check engine light. You ask them very simply, wow, how long has that been on? That's a powerful question, because half the people that come into your dealership with a check engine light got an estimate and they know it's expensive. What's a catalytic converter cost? What's an ECM cost? All that stuff is stupid money. That's why they're there to trade. The other half don't know what it costs. They don't want to know what it costs because they know it's going to be more expensive than they care for. But these are all things in the conversation with them that take them from 10,000 to 9,000 to 8,500 to 8,000. ACV might only be 7, but it's a lot easier to go from 8 to 7 than it is from 10 to 7 because they think you're trying to rip them off to begin with. But if you educate them, you've made them part of the process. So now when you come back, great. Now you know how dealers look at cars. And just like in real estate, where you do a comparative market analysis, we have a similar tool that looks at cars. So we'll be able to tell every car just like yours that's for sale now, where, for how much, and how long. And now you come out and you share that data with them. Okay, you're okay on the condition of the car? Great. There's 12 cars like yours for sale now. When we factor in the mileage, because your car is 120,857, it brings it down to 6. There's only 6 cars like yours. Okay. Now, this car is 53 miles from here. They're asking $8,000 for it retail, and it's been on the lot for 45 days. Here's another car that they're asking $7,500 for. It's been on the market for 60 days. Here's a car they're asking $9,000 for. It's been on the market for 2 weeks. It's so many miles from the dealership. All right. So based on what's available in the market, the data tells us this is what the market value is of your car retail. Now, when you went to go to work, you didn't say to your boss, hey, my rent is this much money, my car payment's this much money, and I go to the movies twice a month, so I only need this much money. You have savings that you want to do. You have retirement that you need to plan for. You have vacations that you want to take. There's a spread. People get that. You're not nonprofit. So you tell them very simply. So that customer that's asking $8,000 for their car, the dealer's probably buying $5,000 or $6,000 because that's where they need to be in order to make it work. Does that make sense? Yeah. Now you get their buy-in. You've shown them data. So you've got agreement on the new car price. You have agreement, understanding on the used car price. Now you put it together, and that's how you present the pricing. It's a whole lot better than just throwing a number at them, seeing what sticks, and then using verbal jujitsu to try to walk them off the ceiling. You present pricing that way, what I call value-based pricing, you'll get a lot better response. Just try it. We're very resilient in our business. If something doesn't work, we stopped that stuff yesterday. But if it works, we do more of it. All right, so just try that. We covered the why buy here. Vehicle acquisition. Everybody's struggling for cars, and everybody has the latest great idea on how they're going to get cars. We heard earlier that word of mouth is the best source referral, right? Well, guess what? If you have 100 people working in your store, those 100 people have their own tribes of people that like them and trust them. The first component of any deal, no matter what the product, is trust. So if you have 100 people working for you, you can teach those people how to load cars into an inventory app right on their phone. There's no reason why you can't do that. You have a buy list of what you sell in your store and what's hot in your market. Okay, we're not asking all these people to put numbers on cars. No, we're not. But if Sally's at a barbecue and people talk about real estate, sex, and cars, it's the way it is. That's the reality. So if Sally's at a barbecue and she's talking about, somebody's car that they have, oh, wow, you know what? I know we're always looking for cars. Do you mind if I scan your car and take a couple of pictures of it? With the market being what it is today, it might be a great time for you to sell that car. How hard a conversation is that? As opposed to sending something cold to somebody that doesn't know you, that doesn't trust you, that thinks that you're trying to beat them anyway. I'd rather have my friend who I trust or my relative who I trust come to me and have this conversation with me about the car. I can put it all into the app. I could scan the barcode. I can take pictures. Teach them the basics. They're not putting numbers on cars. They're not. What they're doing is they're feeding your used car machine. So now you have a list of cars that you can cross-reference against your buy list to see what you need, and leverage your people to have those conversations with their friends, with their relatives, so that you can buy those cars. Because guess what? If they sell you their car, they're going to need another one to replace it. And if they trust you on the first sale, they're going to trust you on the second sale. So it's not rocket science. Leverage the people that you have. Stop relying on cold stuff. Doesn't work as well as a warm handoff. How to attract older customers into your shop? Very easy. Since 7 in 10 customers don't come back to the dealership anyway, they're going to the aftermarket. It's safe to assume that the aftermarket is not buying their parts from you, but they're buying them from Napa or CarQuest or some of these other parts houses. They probably sell way more parts than we do as dealers. There's nothing wrong with having a sliding scale labor for older cars. The person that's driving a 2023 is expecting to pay more than the person that's driving a 2013. I think that's just a basic fact. So if you can attract the people that have a 10-year-old car to come into your shop with a more aggressive labor rate and the option for both new OEM parts or aftermarket parts, and you fully explain what the difference is between an OEM brake rotor and a Napa Auto Parts brake rotor, what the warranty difference is, what the quality differences are, and let the customer decide. We end up pencil whipping so many deals ourselves. Let the customer decide. And I think what you'll find is more people will come into your store with older cars because, look, they trust you more from a from a expertise standpoint. We just need to get them to come in and make it worth their while. Show them what's in it for them. And the last piece that I want to leave you with is EVs. I don't care what your feelings are about EVs. If you love them, if you hate them, I don't really care. The reality is there's more coming. And as they start to stack up at our dealerships, we're looking at floor plan expenses choking us conversations again. You have tens of thousands of people in your database that are driving cars that are a few years old, that have been scared into not wanting to buy an EV. You can have conversation with them. You know who's coming in. If somebody's driving 15,000 miles per year and their car gets 25 miles per gallon, over a 2-year span, they're going to need to buy 1,200 gallons of gas, which is going to cost them about $4,500. That's hard money they've spent. If they've had brake work done within the last 30 years, 30,000 miles, that could be a $500 expense. So between gas and brakes, we know from their history, they've spent $5,000 in the last 2 years. Nothing wrong with going up to that person and say, hey, Bob, it's nice to see you. You know, I was reviewing the people that were coming in for service today, and I saw that you were on the list. I took the liberty of looking at your service history. I see its car's been performing great for you. You had a brake job done, within the last 30,000 miles, and that cost you $500. And based on your car getting 25 miles to the gallon, I estimate you probably spent about $4,500 on gas. If I gave you back maybe $4,000 of that $5,000, what would you do with that money? What do you mean? If you didn't have to spend $4,000, what would you do with that? At the very least, they're going to want to know, well, how can you do that? So now here's where it gets cool. Hey, Bob, I'd love your opinion on something. Come with me. You have a key to an EV that's parked in a parking space outside. You start walking, they follow you. They're waiting for their car to be serviced anyway. So they're going to kill 2-3 hours there, spending some time with you, having a nice conversation. There's nothing wrong with that. That saves the service advisor misery of how much longer till my car's in or how much longer till my car's done. So they go out to the parking lot. You open the door. You never mention the letters EV. You open the door. You have them sit in it. Okay. You adjust the seat. You get in on the other side. Okay. I want you to pull out. And before you just wait for some cars to clear, I want you to pull out. And then I want you to punch it. When they punch it, because the EV has instant torque, they're going to get sucked into that seat like a video game. It'll be unlike anything they've ever experienced. And depending on the model and the make, some of those things are like an octopus going into a turn. At the very least, it's going to blow them away. I'm not saying everybody's going to buy an EV, but you can gauge their reaction, how they feel. Again, people buy an emotion. Some of those customers might be, wow, that was kind of cool. What's something like this cost? Or even if they're not interested, when you come back, so what did you mean by what if you could give me back that $4,000? Well, this runs on electricity, okay? And the average person over a year span will spend about $1,000 to charge their car. There's some manufacturers giving out free level 2 chargers, which will enable a customer to charge their vehicle overnight so they're able to use it, okay? Over 2 years span, you're going to save that much money on gas. And because of the regenerative braking on these EVs, where the electric motors do some of the braking, we're finding that the brakes last a lot longer. When I was in Dallas for NADA, I was in Uber's power users, not one under 70,000 miles. They drive 7 days a week, and there was not one person that put a set of brakes on their car. So that's $500 that they're saving within that 30,000 mile or 2 year span. That's real money, and it's real conversation you can have with them. Okay, this is how you can save that money. Is everybody going to want to buy one? No, probably not. But guess what? Right now, the ones that you're selling is because people are coming into your store looking to buy them. They know more about it than you do. You need to educate your team on EVs. What does charging cost? Who installs chargers? What's maintenance look like? You have all this information available to you online right on Google. You need to have all the information, because when the customer comes in that knows more than you do, they're going to ask you a few qualifying questions to see whether or not you know what you're talking about. And if they're convinced that you do, then they have no problem spending the money with you, because you're a seasoned professional that's going to guide them through the process. If you have those conversations, you'll find that at very least you'll get more interest in EVs. And a lot of stores now, they're putting level 3 chargers in front of their buildings, which will charge you to 80% in like 18 minutes. And some stores are actually offering that for free to their customers. Your call. I'm not saying give anything away, but it's your call. If you look at a dealership, it's a huge building. You can put a solar farm right on top of the building, and you can get a lot of electricity. Check with your municipalities. Oftentimes, there's so many crazy tax credits that it costs you almost nothing, if not nothing, to set that up on your buildings. And if you can offer that as a perk to your customers, man, that's the biggest why buy here I've ever seen. So that's just a different way to craft the conversation. Let's see if we can convert some people to it, because they're coming. Whether or not you want them doesn't really matter. There's more coming today, and there's even more coming tomorrow. And the pressure is going to be you running the store as to how you're going to move those. If you only have a handful of them now and you're moving them, that's great. But what are you going to do when you have 75, 80, 100 of them sitting there? and you don't have 100 people coming in looking to buy them. You're going to need to change the narrative. You're going to need to get educated, and you're going to need to have better conversations with your customers. So it's a lot of information we covered. I hope you took notes. If there's anything you have questions on, feel free to reach out to me. If we're not connected on LinkedIn, I'm always open to connecting with like-minded professionals. If I can help you or you can help me, send me a connection request. I don't accept all of the requests because I'm not one of those people that has to have 1 million connections, especially when a big chunk of those are fake. I'm more interested in the real people that have real solutions that can help me or I can help them. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support. Steve DiMaggio, put panels over lot instead of for shade. There's so many different ways, Steve. Between solar fields on the property, between shades, as you mentioned, between panels on the roof. There's so much more we can do, but we're not doing it. And sometimes we need a kick in the ass from somebody. And I hope this opened up your eyes to some of the things that we're not doing now that we can be doing. Not everything costs money. If you leverage Google and social media, you'll actually cut your ad spend by up to 1/3, and you'll reach a broader audience. It's win-win for everybody. Peter Smith says, thanks so much, Paul. Great show. LinkedIn user says, great show, Paul. Thank you. I wish you all a safe and successful week coming up. Share this with anybody that you feel would benefit from the information. And with that, we'll see you next week on Sunday Night Live. Thanks for watching.